Next up, we have Rae from River.
Hey, I'm Rae from River. We're an in-person event and social platform turning audiences into communities. We help orchestrate events at scale with crowdsourced hosts. I'm going to show you how the All In Pod is building community around their show. We spin up 100 save the date events all around the world, and the besties just have to tweet it out and mention it on the pod. Fans like James see that there's an event in his city, and he can either RSVP or he can apply to host to make sure the event happens. We vet hosts to make sure that they'll be great, and once they're approved, they take over limited edit access for the event. James just has to choose a location, set the time and the capacity. He can send messages to attendees, but he cannot get access to their email or their personal phone number. When they're all at the event, they get an SMS from River reminding them to snap a pic and post it on social. It tags the besties and they get tons of fan-generated content. Then whoever's doing the admin can see which events and which people are coming up and need action. There's a ton of free energy in the system. Just a handful of retweets from JCal and 2 mentions on the pod has resulted in 128 events with volunteer hosts and over 2,000 members. Been working closely with Brian Johnson, Don't Die. He's our most recent community. Again, 243 events have happened in less than 2 months with 6,800 members. Monthly active users really started to pop off in January. And our early traction since launching November 27th with just 9 communities on the platform, we've had 600 events, 1,200 volunteer hosts, 19,000 users, and 146,000 app visitors. Currently, our beta pricing is that we charge $50 a month for self-service and $500 a month for more white glove community management while we automate more workflows. We're also exploring with paid memberships, affiliates, treasury, and sponsorships. Pricing launched November 27th, and we're at $1,750 in MRR. We're really excited about this market. The creator economy is worth $250 billion, and that's growing. In-person events globally is $1 trillion, and 15% of consumers subscribe to some creator membership. The purchasing power of communities is massive, but it's still untapped. Taylor Swift could host album release parties on River. Formula One could do watch parties and side events. Selena Gomez, she has a rare beauty cosmetic line. She could do product drop parties, and political campaigns could get together with meetups and fundraiser events on River. Our path to 100 million, we need 5,600 communities with an expected monthly revenue of $1,500. We're starting with podcasters and thought leaders. We're also starting to work with businesses and tech communities. And then we'll expand to streamers and influencers, musicians and celebrities, sports teams, alumni networks, and political campaigns. We differentiate from existing event tools in the way we manage events at scale, how we handle crowdsourced hosts, quality control, and permission layers. We're starting with events, but in the future, powerful communities will be organized on River. We're going to be building out event programming, community infrastructure, and social networking. My 2 technical co-founders and I worked together at Sauce Labs back in 2013, and we're backed by Jason, of course, and also Balaji Srinivasan from the Network State. And that's River. We're an in-person event and social platform turning audiences into communities. Thanks.
Minnie, you're up next. Question for Rae.
Yeah, I love that picture of Jason, by the way. I was wondering, how many people do you have right now paying $500 a month? And if most people are paying something closer to $50 a month, I'm just interested in the cost to acquire paying customers.
Yeah, I'd be curious about what part of the platform you feel gets the most usage other than the event orchestration. So one part I'm excited about or interested in is the data layer where, hosts get a lot of data on how engaged their communities are, how many people are showing up. How do they use that part of the product? And can you expand a little bit more on that?
What's fundamentally different from platforms like Meetup?
Many. So most of our customers, actually 3 of them are on the $500 a month plan. And like I said, we just launched pricing November 27th. So it's pretty early and we've been truly focused on getting some product out the door. CAC, I would say, has been Twitter DMs. When we do things with All In and My First Million, I got a text from Ramit Sethi the next day. Like, it's just kind of the big fish kind of bring in those medium-sized communities. And I think people are usually surprised that, like, we have one user group, Super Team, they're part of Solana. Their audience size you wouldn't think is that big, but they're like super engaged, almost to the same level as Brian Johnson. So yeah, I would say most people are actually on the $500 plan. Nicole, your question about what part is most used on the platform and then that data layer. It's still really early for us. So right now I'd say batch events and like audience activation is the most used part. So we'll spin up these events that are kind of save the dates. You kind of funnel your audience through and everyone organizes themselves in each city. So that's the most powerful. Haven't really gotten to fully squeeze the juice out of the data in that audience layer. But I will say, like, when we did My First Million, Sam and Sean, like, they got 1,000 new emails that I don't think they had before. And then Ryan is on our team deep skills in data science, we'll be able to get lots of data out of that. And then Andy's question about differentiation from Meetup. I actually had lunch with Scott Heiferman the other day. So Meetup is completely fragmented. There's no central leadership from the community organizer or a leader. So you end up getting like people who want to hike on Saturday and then people who want to hike on Saturday with dogs. And because there's no like centralization, things kind of like fragment and fall apart really quickly. And then because we have this connection with the influencer, we're able to incentivize hosts. They get extra access, things like that. The thing to really understand is that these are net new events. These aren't actually being replaced from Luma or Meetup. We're able to make more events happen than ever were possible before. All right, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
It's really important for us at This Week in Startups and at All In to know who the top 1% of the audiences are. And so that's really what we're trying to capture. When you have a podcast or you have any community, understanding that 1% of your most passionate users, it's just really difficult to do, but they kind of raise their hands and say, I want to host a 5 or 10 or 20 person meetup in San Carlos or Buenos Aires. I mean, it's super powerful. And those 1,000 emails are worth $100 each to us, as opposed to the other 99% or the bottom 50%, which are worth a penny or 10 cents, because they're not going to do anything if activated. So we really have been trying to find a solution for this, and TEDx in a box doesn't exist. And for $6,000 a year, I'd say it takes half the work of a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 community manager. So in other words, one community manager can now do what maybe 3 would do, 4 would do with the software here. So yeah, we're really, really excited about it. And the thing that I'm most excited as an investor in this is the, who's the lunatic with the don't die?
Brian Johnson.
And then who's the other lunatic with wanting to not have governments? And
Balaji Srinivasan.
I always follow lunatics because lunatics are like the tip of the spear sometimes in adoption. Like Balaji and Brian are lunatics and they have lunatic followings. And the fact that both of those showed up after us, I expected my first million. They copy a lot of the stuff we do and they're really students of the game. But for Balaji to do this and for Brian to do it that to me made me really excited as an investor. So I think this like activating communities is the future of a lot of businesses. And a lot of products that are getting built now are using Discord and other ways to do it online. You probably see that in your own portfolios, but
Brian was using Discord before he had 10 events.
Yeah. So doing it this way, we used Slack to do it before it didn't work. You need much more software and structure to control this and make sure it doesn't become a sales effort. So, that's the thing we were most concerned about. We didn't want lawyers and accountants and headhunters to hijack our audience. And so we only allow, in our group, it's 4 founders, 5 founders. And the service providers all want the emails in Rae and I's experience. And she doesn't give them to them in the platform. You have to communicate through the platform. And then the people who are the hosts, who are the founders, they don't want the emails. They're not trying to build their CRM. So anyway, it's a lot of like interesting little discoveries there of who's the right person to manage your local meetup, TEDx in a box.